Hi, my name's Hammerhead, doing another video. I'd like to thank Pro Football Reference for their extensive archive with football down to the last detail, which was how I was able to get the information I am about to use in this video. Now, let's get to the video. Who is the true touchdown king? Now, first name comes to mind is Peyton Manning, of course, with 55 back in 2013. The next person comes to mind is Dan Marino in 1984 with 48. But, for a quick second, who owned the record before Marino? Now, I'm going to give you a second to pause this video and think about it for a second. Now, if you probably restarted this video, you either couldn't figure it out, or you went on your search engine or whatever you use and found the name. And yes, that is his real name. And that is Y.A. Tittle, 1963. Tossed 36 touchdown passes for the New York Giants in 13 games. Less than when O.J. set his record with 2,014 games. And we'll get to the game numbers later on in the video. So, from 1963 till Marino broke it in 84, Tittle owned that record. Now, a fun fact, the lowest number in that span, or the lowest two guys, they were co-leaders in this year, 1972, Joe Namath and Billy Kilmer only tossed 19 touchdowns. Very, very different kind of numbers we're used to on year average in today's football. Now, the closest anyone came to breaking that record in that span was Dan Fouts in 1981. The famous 1981 Chargers. He tossed 33. Now, we all know records should also be a marvel of the time. In those days, to toss 36 touchdowns was like tossing 50 in today's game. And to do it in just 13 games was just astonishing. Nobody after that really came close, and except for Lynn Dickey and Fouts and Steve Bartkowski. But the people I'm going to highlight in this video are Marino's 86 season, Marino's 84 season, Manning's 13 and 04 season, Brady's 04 season, and Brett Favre's 95 through 97 seasons. And I was able to do it took me a little while to do all this math and everything, and it really was a pain in the ass. I'll tell you that, but it was worth it. So, I'm going to read you off some stuff I was able to uncover with the record. Now, in 86, I want to start off with that. In 86, Marino came close to breaking his own record with 44. But in only 13 games, he tossed 33. In Marino's 84 season, he did toss 48, but if you take away those 3 extra games, he only ties Y.A. Tittle's record with 36. In Manning's 13th season, he actually would have broken the record with 45 in 13 games. The same with Manning's 04 season. If Manning had only 13 games, he would have tossed 46, and it actually wouldn't. If that record would stand and there was not 3 extra games, Manning would still be the record holder. Because in 2004, when Brady tossed 50, if you take away the 3 extra games, he only tossed 45. In Brett Favre's 95 season, he tossed 38 touchdown passes, but again, take off the 3, that's 31 touchdown passes. In 96, 31 touchdowns out of 39. And in Brett Favre's 97 season, out of 35, even though he wouldn't have broken the record, I just want to point out he would have came up 1 short, but if you take away the 3 games, he wouldn't have even came close with 28. So, You're probably saying, well, Hammerhead, still, there would have been somebody to break with the record eventually. Yes, while that is technically true, I like to point out a few things. In 1964, the NFL went up to 14 games. In 1977, that's when they went up to 16 games. And then you had the infamous Mel Blount rule. So in 1963, the windows to throw the football, I'd say, were this big. No joke, this big. And today's football, they're about the size of my face. It is really, really easy. Because in today's football, more or less, the refs just want to get points on the board because they're freaking jerks. And they want to go tell the defense to go take a hike in a broom closet. Thank you very much. What's the point of defense? So, I still kind of think that Y.A. Tittle's 1963 season should be a marvel, because it seems like everyone's forgotten him. Unless you're a Giants fan or 49ers fan and you really know your history. You really don't know who Y.A. Tittle is. And again, after I read you off this list, you should really rethink, well, should he be the real king for what he did in his time? And I think, yes, he should be. And you're probably, well, did he ever come close to that again? Well, here's the thing. He retired in 64. And he had gotten injured and only played in, I think, around 10 or something games. I'm not completely sure. But for him to do that, it basically his second to last season of his career was freaking amazing. And the year before that, he had set the previous record of 33. So he actually broke his own record back-to-back years over the age of 32. And in those days, if you were still playing over the age of 32, that was like playing in your 50s. And this is when there's no Mel Blount rule. You can basically decapitate your wide receivers. And you can basically decapitate and turn the quarterback into a buffet for the defensive line. Not like today's world, where the quarterback is protected to the almighty God, and wide receivers are protected like there's no tomorrow as well. Not saying that's a completely bad thing, but I'm just saying, there's got to be a point where you're saying, okay, it's a little too easy. Really, it's a little too easy. So, I hope you get what I'm saying here. That maybe really you should give Y.A. Tittle a little bit more credit for what he did, and not forget him, and only talk about Marino, Manning, and Brady. So, just take that in mind. That when a record is set, you have to think about the time, the rules, and the amount of games in that certain area of history. And you have to understand that it was damn hard to do it in that time frame. Not like how it is today, as I've said before. It's just completely and utterly wide open brand of football. And some of you were probably wondering why I didn't do Mahomes and a few other quarterbacks. Well, I just wanted to keep it simple and not absolutely bore you to death. So, I hope you can't. Maybe your decision's a little bit muddled, which I hope, which was what I was going for. Or if you still just want to, go by today's football and that's how you could go, that's fine. But just make sure you take the time to respect the records that were set in the days of when real football was being played, not like the baby football that is played today. Not saying it's all bad, but compared to the old days, this is nothing. So, I hope you enjoyed. Hammerhead